So finally getting into ab theory here. This is a masterclass that I have been excited to share with you guys. It's going to be a 3-day masterclass. And obviously today we're on day 1. So this is going to be 4 science-backed reasons why your abs aren't showing. I'm going to explain who this is for in just a minute. I'm going to explain a little bit more about me if you guys don't know already. And then we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about 4 reasons why you may be working out really hard, dieting a lot, cutting out things from your diet in hopes of seeing your abs show up, but they're just not. I want to break this down for you in very simple, practical ways. So even if you're someone who doesn't have a whole lot of time, or maybe you've never even seen your abs before, these are going to be solutions and tools that you can apply to hopefully see improvements in your abs. Okay, so let's get into the presentation here. Also, if you guys have questions, I'm going to just go ahead and run through this. But if you do have questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section below this video, and I'll make sure that I have time to respond to those as soon as I see them, okay? So again, this is day 1. We're going to go through 3 days, and this is 4 science-backed reasons your abs aren't showing. Now, if you're wondering if this is for you or if these solutions will even apply to you, this is going to be great if you're an ex-athlete turned corporate leader, navigating a high-stress lifestyle and looking to regain your athletic shape back. I work with a lot of ex-athletes who were really fit, back in college when they played a sport. And now they're realizing that the stress of having a demanding career and maybe family responsibilities on top of it has made it difficult in order for them to get their shape back, just because they don't have a lot of time, they eat out a lot or travel a lot. So those are the types of people I work with. And if that's you, this is going to be helpful information for you. Also, this is for you if you're not extremely overweight, but you can't figure out how to get to the next level to see abs show up. Other types of people that I work with are, people that are just looking to lose the last 10 to 15 pounds in order to get to that next level physique. And you may recognize that, maybe going from eating really unhealthy food to healthy food can help you lose the first 20 pounds. But then a lot of people hit a point to where they can't get that really noticeable physique without a more targeted approach. So we're going to cover some of that in the training today. Also, this is for you if you feel like you're storing more midsection fat the older you get, no matter how much cardio you do or how much you clean up your diet. Again, you're going to notice that working out and eating healthy foods only gets you so far. Okay. If you want an elite physique and you want to walk around in an athletic body where people really notice you know what you're doing, you need a better strategy than just generally eating well and working out randomly. Also, this is for you if you're sick of being the person who regularly works out with your trainer, sweats like crazy at Orange Theory every week. Maybe you have a Peloton that you're on all the time, but you barely look like you go to the gym. Okay. Now, what this looks like in practice, I've got results to show, right? Because I've actually done this in practice and I've worked with people who have very busy schedules. Again, people who travel all the time, people who are living the corporate life. And I want you to know that the tools and the strategies I'm going to show you aren't just going to work if you are able to be in the gym every single day a week. You don't have to be in the gym 7 days a week, but you do need a strategy that is designed for effectiveness, okay? If you're someone who's just trying to stack a ton of workouts and cut out absolutely everything from your diet, from sugar to carbs to alcohol, those types of strategies are not going to work. They're not going to be effective enough to produce results. So I'm going to show you a better way to do it. Anyway, these are some of the guys I've worked with before. I do work with women too, but I've got some guys as examples for you guys today. This is Eddie. He's a former minor league baseball player, and he is now the president of a large logistics company. He also has a family. These are the results we were able to get for him actually during COVID. So he wasn't even able to go to the gym, but he dropped 20 pounds in 10 weeks. And also, more importantly, he dropped that weight around his waist. So he lost a lot of inches around his waist, also has better arm definition on top of it. And again, these results were created from home. And for him, one of the things he was surprised with, we did like a little testimonial video, but one of the things he was surprised to learn is that he wasn't even hungry during that process. This is Daniel. He's a CPA and he dropped 40 pounds and got abs while eating Sonic Blasts, running a business, and also spending time with his family. Again, he's got a couple kids, he's married, really busy guy, but we were able to get him these results and we were able to do it with a flexible diet. Okay. So you need to know, again, cutting everything out of your diet is not necessarily the solution to seeing abs. This is Bill. He's a former D1 football player turned COO and family man. Again, he's got a family too. He broke his fat loss plateau and dropped 23 pounds of body fat. I mean, pure body fat, and added lean muscle. You can see that very clearly in this transformation here. After DIY workouts every day of the week, and eating clean wasn't working. So really important to realize that his gym time actually was reduced from this picture on the left to the picture on the right. He's working out less over here, but more strategically, and using some of the strategies that I'm going to show you guys today. Got way better results, again, just because he was working smarter, not harder. This is Kyle. He's a producer. I mean, huge difference here. He really was able to get the tapered waist look, really that Superman shape, you know, where you've got a smaller waist, broader shoulders. For men, that's a lot of times what they're going for. And yeah, what was not working for him initially was a ton of cardio. I mean, he was doing cardio every single day, and again, eating really clean. That was not the solution. So if you're currently someone who's doing a ton of cardio, expecting that that is going to produce a more fit look and a smaller waist, it's not the solution. This is Jacques, and he's a business owner, runs multiple businesses. He was also really active in biohacking, actually. He knew a lot about health, knew a lot about fitness, but wasn't getting the results he wanted. So we were able to create a time condensed plan for him that was also just very customized. And he was able to lose a lot of visceral belly fat in a short amount of time. So these are his results. Maybe you know me, maybe you don't. If you're wondering who am I and why should you even listen to me? My name is Molly Van Marth, and my intro to health and fitness actually started off with eating disorders in high school. And from that, recovering from those, I developed a passion for sustainable fitness through learning about the science of building lean muscle. Honestly, I was someone who wanted to know how to look fit and to have, you know, the chiseled midsection. And I discovered that the best way to do that is with a sustainable approach. If you want to be someone who doesn't have to rely on your youth to look good, you have to understand a little bit of the science behind how to get abs, how to lower your body fat your body fat percentage, and how to do it when you've got a really busy schedule. So that's the kind of stuff that I teach. I started off, a lot of people want to know like my history, you know, what's your story with fitness? Do you have any experience, right? Well, I actually started off as an in-person trainer at a luxury health club in Nashville. And that's where I saw the in-person training model does not work for business owners, executives, and ex-athletes, because you're missing 80% of the picture when you're working with an in-person trainer, okay? And that is, you don't have support with nutrition, which is going to be the main catalyst for being able to have an athletic physique, okay? You can't go around that. And also another one of the things I noticed with in-person training is that with executives and anyone who travels or has a busy schedule, overall, trying to match up schedules with an in-person trainer is going to create more conflict than it does help you. So that's just not a good model overall. And also you may realize that the place you really need support is not within the gym. It's when you're grocery shopping. It's when you're out to eat with your clients. It's when you're traveling or at an airport or you have a really busy week. So the remote model that I use for fitness and health consulting works a lot better if you're an executive or someone with that type of schedule. So I've used a fully virtual consulting model since 2018 to help, again, the guys and girls I work with get into above average shape with below average free time and crazy lifestyles. For me, you know, as far as me personally, I had back-to-back babies in my early 20s. So funny story, I actually did not have abs, like absolutely could not figure out how to get abs before having kids. I'm in way better shape afterwards, even though I have less free time than I've ever had. And I'm older than I've ever been. So I want you to know, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how much time you have, doesn't matter if you've never seen abs before, you can absolutely create a chiseled midsection as long as you have the right strategy. Also, I've been a keynote speaker for executive events. I did one recently for Morgan Stanley. I spoke to a room of over 160 finance executives. And so, yeah, and I have worked with executives from Fortune 500 companies, such as, and these are just a few, but Morgan Stanley, McKinsey & Company, Deloitte, Tractor Supply Company, HCA Healthcare, Jack in the Box, and others. You know, if we're not connected on LinkedIn, let's go get connected on there right now. But anyway, to help them achieve, again, optimal physiques with below average free time. Today, I'm excited to share some of those techniques with you guys. So what are we getting into here? 4 science-backed reasons your abs aren't showing. You need to know that if you want to see abs, there are 4 physical components that can affect whether they're showing up for you or not. Number 1, bloat. Number 2, we have body fat. 3, we have muscle, your actual ab muscles. And 4, we have water retention. These are not in order, but I am going to cover each one. More importantly, I'm going to show you the level of importance for seeing abs, because not all of these are super critical to focus on. Sometimes people chase the wrong ones, thinking that it's more important than the other one. But I'm going to show you what is essential to focus on and which ones really matter for seeing your abs show up. Also, I'm going to tell you guys things that you may be doing that are negatively impacting any one of these areas. Sometimes you may be thinking you're doing things that will help you see abs, but it could actually be working in reverse. So it's very important that you're aware of what you're doing currently that might not be so helpful, so that you don't waste your time going the wrong direction. Also, obviously, I'm going to tell you how to positively impact each of these areas so that you can actually see results from all of the hard work you're doing. So, number one, we have bloat. Now, this really comes from digestion, and it's not going to be super impactful in terms of whether you see abs or not. So, for example, people who do have abs, they could have a bloated day. So maybe your stomach is distended a little bit, but you're still going to be able to see abs. Okay. So you just need to know that this is not the thing to chase. If you're doing like a bunch of detoxes and stuff like that, it's really a waste of time. Okay. Not the main problem. Now, what will it affect? It may affect the circumference of your waist. Again, what's nice is when you do have abs, even if you're bloated, maybe your stomach sticks out a little bit more, but you're still going to be able to see that definition. So again, don't waste too much time here. However, causes of bloat could be from too many processed foods, seed oils in particular. So things like soy, canola oil, stuff like that. And these are more present in processed foods. That can cause that. Having too much fiber all of a sudden can cause this. You know, fiber is great, vegetables are great. But if, for example, you went from a diet that is low in fiber to all of a sudden having a ton of fiber and not having enough water with it, it can actually make you more bloated. If you are someone who's not having a lot of fiber and you are trying to add fiber to your diet, that is a positive shift. I would say stick with it, but you just need to know that initially that can cause some bloating. An abrupt change in what or how much you're eating. Honestly, this happens a lot because people have no idea how much they're eating. There's no tracking going on. You don't know what an optimal amount of food for you is. So a lot of times this is a cause of bloating, and it's just simply because you have no idea what to aim for in terms of how much food you should have. You have no idea what to aim for in terms of what should be on your plate. So it's really just not having any targets dialed in or any guidance or any boundaries set in place is what causes that. Also, you could be bloating from having a bacteria overgrowth or other conditions. Obviously, there's other health conditions. And a lot of these issues come from having too much processed foods. So if you're someone who knows you're eating too much processed food, again, you've got two options. You can either help yourself get back on track, or you can hire some accountability from a coach or a consultant to help you be more serious about that if you keep falling off on your own. So solutions here, again, you could keep a food journal on your own to see what problem foods are causing bloating. One of the things that I do to immediately know what works or what doesn't work for my clients in terms of food and just a general diet for them to stick to is I do a nutrition audit. So I have them record their food and then I look at it and we can immediately tell what foods need to stay and what foods need to go. That way we're not guessing. And that way I can be very direct with them and telling them immediately what needs to be adjusted so that they can not be bloated and get better results from all their work. So another solution to this, something that's just good to do, is eat more real food. Eat more real food that you can recognize exactly what's on your plate. So like single ingredient foods. If you're looking at something and there's like a million different ingredients in it, that's going to be more of a processed food. Processed foods are not bad, but the majority of your diet should come from real foods. Okay. Another thing that can be helpful is a high quality probiotic or digestive enzyme. One of the things that I do for my clients is a lot of times people gravitate towards certain foods and kind of gravitate away from others. So what I will do is look at someone's diet, see what types of foods they eat, and then give them a digestive enzyme that is specifically targeted towards breaking down the types of foods that they eat. Not all digestive enzymes are the same, and not all of them break down food in the same way. So that's one of the things that I do for my clients. Again, just make sure you're getting something that is high quality. Now, just to be really honest with you guys, if you're feeling like bloating is your main issue and that's why you're not seeing abs, just to be very direct, most of the time it's not really the main problem and it's actually more body fat. Okay. 9 times out of 10, someone's actual problem for not being able to see abs is that their body fat percentage is just too high and therefore you can't see the muscle definition there. Okay. And we're going to talk more about that one in just a minute. Number 2, we have water retention. Okay, so this is referring to water that collects under the skin and makes you look puffy. All right. Causes of this could be from an influx of carbs, an influx of salt, or cortisol. And cortisol is your stress hormone. This is worth talking about when it comes to midsection body fat. We're going to go deeper into this on day 3. Okay. So cortisol is kind of the exception. Yeah. And obviously, if you've ever noticed, like after a day of, again, eating out can cause this a lot. You might notice that your face is more puffy and your body is holding more water too. Solutions to this. Overall, if you're noticing huge fluctuations here, again, a lot of this comes down to just knowing where you stand with how much you're eating every day, and knowing if you're eating a lot more carbs on certain days and a lot less carbs on other days. Sometimes it can be really confusing to know why the scale is fluctuating so much or why your clothes fit so differently on certain days. And a lot of times it's just because you're not following a plan and you have no idea where you stand in terms of your intake of food and your intake of things like carbs, fats, and protein. Okay. One of the things that I do, and one of the reasons I'll just tell you guys that I have my clients track food is so that we can be very predictable with what's happening with body composition changes. If you want to know what direction your body's going to go in, if you want to know if you're going to see predictable results from the work you're putting in, you need a game plan to keep you on track. If you're not measuring things and you don't have a plan, then you can't expect to see consistent results from the work that you're putting in because things are just too random and you have no idea what's going on. Okay. It would be like expecting to run a successful business or to see your company do well or have a good year without tracking any data, without making any assessments, and without having any kind of game plan. Okay. Like I said, easier to have. You may be wondering, okay, so I know my carbs are all over the place, but like how many should I have? Honestly, this has to be assessed on a one-on-one basis. If you're going to plug your age, height, and weight into a calculator online, 9 times out of 10, those are not correct. So the fastest way is to have an expert assess exactly what you're doing right now to tell you which direction you need to shift in. Maybe you need more carbs, maybe you need less. Again, just important that you're getting the right calculations in terms of what direction you need to go in. Okay. Like I said, if cortisol is the issue, cortisol is your stress hormone. It can make you retain more water than you typically would. Now, if this is your problem, it really doesn't have anything to do with carbs or salt. Again, I assess someone to determine whether I think cortisol is their main problem. And if that is the problem, you need to make sure you're not doing anything to make it worse. And I'm not talking about trying to remove anything stressful from your life. Obviously, it's not possible to have a stress-free life, but there are things you could be doing that are making cortisol worse. So for example, if you're not eating the right nutrition to help your body recover, you could be making it worse. If you're doing loads of cardio, that's actually one of the things that can make cortisol even worse and make you retain more water. So again, this is one of the things where you may think you're doing something good for your body composition and it's actually pushing you in the wrong direction. So you need to be aware of that, right? More work is not necessarily better. All right. So 3, we have ab muscle, your actual core muscles that make up your abs. You need to know, if you're wondering, like, are my abs even there? Do I even have ab muscles? Yes, everyone is born with ab muscles. Okay. It's part of your physiology. But only when you are lean enough, only when your body fat percentage is low enough, can you actually see abs. You also need to know, as far as like the structure of your abs, there are different ab muscles that make up your abs. So one of the things that we're going to talk about in day 2 is which muscles are worth focusing on. Okay. If you actually focus on the wrong ab muscles, you could be making your midsection wider, and that's obviously not what you want to do. So again, I'll talk more about specific exercises, the best and the worst, tomorrow in day 2. If you want to link to day 2, drop the word day 2 down below and I can make sure that I get you that training. Anyway, we've got the obliques. Obliques are more on the sides of your abs. And then we have the rectus abdominis, and those are more in the center. Okay. That's really what's going to create the 6-pack look. So just a little bit about the structure of your abs. If you're not seeing ab muscles and it's due to not focusing on your ab muscles, that means you just haven't developed them enough. Maybe you're too weak. Or again, this is kind of a common theme here. I hope you guys are seeing this, but maybe you just have too much body fat and that's why you can't see your abs. Okay. So solutions to correcting this. Like I said, there is a right way and a wrong way to work out your abs. If you do it the right way, it's going to give you a tighter waist and more visible ab muscles. If you do it the wrong way and you focus on the wrong exercises, it could actually give you a wider waist. Okay. Like I said, we're going to cover this in day 2. I'm going to rank them best to worst exercises. And overall, just like building any other kind of muscle in your body, just like the same kind of work it takes to have a nice physique where people look at you and they're like, wow, they must really work out, or wow, they look like they played sports when they were younger, or maybe they look like a current athlete. If you want that look where people notice your physique, You need to be strategic, and it doesn't come from just doing random exercises. It doesn't come from doing a ton of cardio. It doesn't come from circuit workouts with a trainer. Okay. There's a specific design and structure that creates an effective workout routine that will produce developed ab muscles and just a developed physique overall. Two components that you need to have as part of that effective plan are progressive overload. And this means making things progressively harder over time. So when it comes to ab workouts and ab exercises, you need to be making sure that you are adding reps or adding weight. If you're doing a weighted ab exercise, something needs to be progressing over time. And again, that factor is called progressive overload. Another factor that needs to be present in your fitness plan, and again, this goes for abs or any other muscle, is periodization. Okay. So making sure you're getting a new set of workouts at the appropriate time. This doesn't mean that you have random workouts every time you go to the gym, which is what most trainers will have you do to keep you entertained. Not very effective. And it also doesn't mean doing the same routine on repeat forever. So if you're just on repeat and it's Groundhog Day, every time you go to the gym, you're just doing your own DIY routine that you've tweaked from college, you hit this muscle group and that muscle group, and it's the same every time, you're not going to see progress. Okay. So there is after an appropriate amount of time, that's when you get a new exercise routine. Again, this is slightly customized just depending on the person, but you need a strategic plan, and you need to make sure you are refreshing your exercise plan at the right time, not too soon, not too late. Okay. Again, you've got two options here to get a plan like that in your hands. You can either build it yourself and spend time learning how to do that, or you can outsource it. All right, now we get to the most important factor that you've heard me mention many times, and it is body fat percentage. All right, you can't get around this. And you really need to understand that this is the most important factor of seeing abs. A little bit different for men versus women. For men, abs show up at about 10 to 15% body fat. Yes, genetics play a small part, but the truth is, if you're not seeing your abs show up, you're just not lean enough. Straight up. For women, they show up at about 15% to 20% body fat. Okay. Reasons that you may not be getting your body fat low enough in order to see abs. Number one, you don't have any targeted nutrition approach in place so that you can be effective and make progress each week towards seeing abs. This also means, if you're going to be effective with the way that you're eating and with your diet, you need personalized metrics dialed in for you. This means what needs to be on your plate to make sure that you're hitting targets. Again, just like a business or reaching any other goals in life, you need targets. You need some basic metrics dialed in. It doesn't have to be rocket science, but for every person, there's going to be a few targets that they need to focus on in order to lower their body fat percentage. Food is a tool in order to get your body to look the way that you want it to look. Your body's very logical. It's very predictable. We know how the human body responds to certain foods. So if you feel like you're cutting a million things out, you feel like you're cutting calories like crazy and you're eating super clean, there is something that you're missing in your diet that is not dialed in properly. You may think you know how you need to eat, but bottom line, if your diet is not producing fat loss each week, you don't know what you don't know, and you're not doing it right. And that's good news, right? Because once you give your body the right raw materials through food that it needs to lose body fat, you will drop body fat. You will drop body fat consistently. You should be able to chart your body fat loss progress each week. And if you're not able to track your progress and see that you will reach goals by a certain deadline, then again, there's something that's just not dialed in with food, and that's okay. But again, you've got two options. You can either figure it out yourself and become the expert, or you can outsource an expert's perspective so that you can get the answers faster and figure out what you're doing wrong to shorten the timeline for reaching your goals. Okay. The other big mistake I see people making here when it comes to losing body fat, a lot of people do know that that's the solution, right? Like people recognize, okay, I've got abs under there. I know they're under there. Maybe, again, you've played a sport and you've seen them before. But if you use exercise alone to try to burn off enough calories, to burn off enough body fat to see abs, you will sink before you reach your goals. Trying to use exercise in order to erase all the calories that maybe you eat on a regular basis when you're traveling or when you're at work events or you're eating with your family is not going to be an effective way of doing it. You have to make sure you're getting ahead with your diet. Otherwise, you're going to constantly be working out just to break even with what you're eating, and you're not going to be able to get ahead and actually see results that way. Okay. So solutions. Again, body fat is in fact impacted by energy balance. So calories in versus calories out does matter. However, not all calories are created equal. So once you know, all right, in order to lose body fat, I have to be in a calorie deficit. True. That is true. However, there are certain foods that will burn themselves off during digestion, which is going to give you a huge advantage for being in a calorie deficit. Okay. Certain foods only burn themselves off, burn 3% of calories off in digestion. That's not a lot. Versus other foods burn 35% of themselves off automatically through digestion. So if you can imagine, if you're eating a diet right now that is full of these foods that are not very, this is called thermogenesis, you guys. There's a scientific term that refers to the amount of energy burned off through digestion with certain foods, right? If you're eating a diet and most of the foods you're eating are not very thermogenic, you may be only burning 3% of the calories you eat off through digestion. Meanwhile, if you switch over to a diet that is filled with thermogenic foods, you could be burning 35% of the calories off that you eat through digestion alone. So when you see people and it seems like they can eat a lot of food and they don't gain weight, or they can eat a lot of food and they're still really fit, chances are they have a diet that is filled with very thermogenic foods. Also, if you're someone who doesn't have a whole lot of time to spend hours and hours in the gym trying to burn off calories, it will help you to learn how to eat a diet that is filled with more thermogenic foods for more calorie burn and fat loss on autopilot. Okay, this is very, very powerful. To give you guys an example, a lot of times what I will do, again, after seeing a nutrition audit, after I see how someone is eating, a lot of times the first shift we will make is not dropping calories, but exchanging, like, for example, if someone tracks their food and shows me they're eating 2,000 calories and they're not losing weight, cool, they're eating 2,000 calories. Instead of dropping their calories to 1,500, I may replace a lot of the foods in their diet that they're eating there that are not very thermogenic foods with more thermogenic foods, and they could lose weight still eating 2,000 calories, but eating more thermogenic foods that are burning themselves off in digestion. It's that powerful, right? Anyway, again, moving along, don't try to create this deficit with exercise alone. I know I already said that. Also, you need to recognize that you cannot spot burn belly fat by doing more ab exercises. That's not how it works. If anything, if you work out a certain muscle, it's going to grow. Working out muscles does not spot burn body fat. That's not how it works. Okay. Like I mentioned, for men, abs show up at 10 to 15%, women about 15 to 20%. Everybody's a little different. But bottom line is, if you cannot see abs, you just aren't lean enough. And you also need to know that it's not a straight shot. You know, losing body fat is one of the most important things. Like just being honest with you guys, if you want to know how to get a great physique, how to get in great shape, and also just be athletic and avoid injury as you get older, you need to know how to keep your body fat percentage low. And it's not as simple as just cutting a bunch of calories. It's not as simple as just cutting out sugar or carbs or alcohol. Okay. There is a process. It happens in phases. Also, there are things that you can do to gain a better advantage so that you're not having to micromanage everything. So long story short, if you have given it a shot on your own before, you need to know there is a more strategic way to do it. And you need to know how to get that leverage, especially if you're someone who's short on time and travels a lot. Okay. Like I mentioned, there are some exceptions with hormones that can make you store more visceral belly fat than, you know, if you had more balanced hormones. So we're going to talk more about that on day 3. So what's next? Again, this was day 1. This is going to be a 3-day masterclass. So tomorrow we're going to cover the best foods for a 6-pack, the best foods for lowering your body fat percentage. Not all foods are created equal. Also, we're going to talk about the best ab exercises ranked from best to worst. Again, some are causing more harm than good. That's day 2. So that's tomorrow. Also, if we're not connected already and you want to know where you can get more great resources, kind of like the training I just walked through, let's connect on LinkedIn. You can just search my name, Molly Van Marth. Also on Instagram, I have tons of shorter trainings on there. Also have a ton of testimonials. If you guys want to see the types of people I work with, go to my Instagram. It's a really easy place to see everything all in one place. Also, if you like trainings like this, where they're just loaded with information, examples, and you really want to dive deeper on how to get a better body composition as an executive or business owner or busy professional, definitely follow my YouTube channel. Got tons of free information posted on there. Okay, lots more resources. If you're someone and you are ready to take action and you don't need more information, you know, you just need the plan in order to shorten the timeline for seeing abs, getting a more defined midsection, just looking more athletic and more fit overall. and you already know you've tried things like the in-person trainer, you've tried keto and intermittent fasting, you've tried meal prep, and you have seen that all the things you paid for, all the time you've spent, and all the years you've tried water are not adding up to results. And you feel like things are getting harder as you're getting older, and you want some kind of custom tailored solution that is actually giving you a transformation for the work that you're putting in. Happy to chat with you. If you want to book a consultation, it's free. I will put a link near this training. Also, there are tons of links on my website, also tons of case studies. Again, if you want more proof that I actually do, in fact, work with executives and business owners, lots of their stories on my website, mollymakesmuscle.com. And again, if you want an elite physique, if you want a really top-notch body, you can't get that with a mediocre plan. You can't get that on your own, and you can't get that with inexperienced nutritionists that have no idea what your lifestyle is like, or in-person trainers that can't help you outside the four walls of the gym. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful. Looking forward to seeing you guys in day 2, and I'll see you soon.